everybody, and welcome back to Cute Claws with Kelly. So really a very different video for you guys today. I normally do my videos with editing and voiceover and music all layered together, and with this particular topic today, dip flu and my specific journey with it, and just my journey with dip powder nails in general. I just thought it would be easier if I just did kind of more of a live kind of video in a way. So here we are. So again, this video is gonna be covering the topic of dip flu specifically, and the reason I wanted to do a video like this is because in my quest to find information, I was able to find some different articles and blog posts and things back in March of 2020, so earlier this year, when I first started doing dip nails and having the effects of what I later found out was dip flu. But there wasn't a whole lot of information on it, and so I really kind of struggled at first trying to figure it out. And so again, that's why I wanted to do this kind of a video for you guys. So the first thing that I will start off with is an article that I think is really well written and explains all the ins and outs about dip flu and what you need to know about it. It comes from Dipwell. And so I will link this particular article down in the description box for you all to read. So I'm just going to kind of go through the article and then kind of point out some of the things that stood out to me in trying to explain what dip flu is, just so that you all know. And then we'll get into a little bit more specifics around my particular journey. So basically, I first need to give a warning, disclosure, that this content that I share with you today should not be taken as medical advice. You need to seek medical counsel for any and all symptoms that you have doing dip flu. You need to make the choice for yourself if it's something that you want to experiment with and find out if you have a reaction to it. But hopefully the information that I share with you with my experience will, help you out. And then certainly the symptoms, if you do experience them, they are something that you should worry about. There are ways that you can combat the symptoms and try to, not experience symptoms, or maybe not as bad as symptoms. But certainly, again, it's something to take very seriously. And then this video and the information I'm sharing is related to, me doing my own nails in my own home as a DIYer. So I really can't speak to, what should you do if you have issues with going to salons and things of that sort. That's not what this video is really intended for. So again, if you experience any issues or any symptoms, you need to go to your doctor right away. And then, you need to take your own pre-existing conditions into consideration, before you start down this path, if dip is something that you're thinking about getting into yourself. So that is kind of my warning to you all, and, don't come for me if you start to experience symptoms, or this is just meant for me to share information about my experience with you all. And if that helps you, then great. But by no means am I going to discuss every single possibility here. So just keep that in mind, please. So let's go ahead and get into this article. So what is the dip flu? So it's basically the catch-all term for any kind of allergic reaction that some dip manicure users have. And it could mean that you're, allergic to the dip liquids, like these from Rossi. Or it could mean that you're allergic to the dip powder. So, here's like an example of the dip powder. or both. I mean, it just depends. But I think that most people are having reactions to the liquids. That's just been my experience with things that I've read. And then like on the different Facebook groups that I'm a part of, like what people say is bothersome for them. But also know that, you know, not everybody obviously will react the same way to any part of the dip nail system. And so there are people that have been doing dip nails for years and have never had a reaction. And they've changed up all the different types of liquids and powders, which I've got kind of like a variety of them to talk to you about here on my desk. And they've never had any reaction to anything. I've also known some people who say, oh, okay, yeah, this one had, you know, more of a smell and it bothered my nose and my eyes, but then they really didn't have any like really dip flu symptoms. It was just, you know, maybe it was just a strong smell, or maybe it just, you know, made their eyes a little watery, and that's all they experienced. Some people get the dip flu every time they do a dip mani, which was my case specifically. And then some people had the dip flu once and never again, or some people didn't get it at first, but then got it later. And as they kept doing nails, like it got worse. So there's just all kinds of different, you know, reactions or levels of reactions. So it's all different for, you know, depending on your person and what bothers you. The symptoms, let's get into that, because the symptoms are also another thing that's different for everybody depending on, you know, their biology and chemistry and all that kind of stuff, and the type of liquids and the type of powders they're using and yada yada. So again, I'm going to say that if you are currently experiencing any of these symptoms, you need to go to your physician immediately. The symptoms are basically flu-like, hence the word dip flu, or cold-like symptoms. And it could be anything from headache or nausea, nasal congestion, runny nose, sneezing, cough, itchy throat, watery eyes, tightness in your chest, infected skin, especially surrounding the nail bed, generally irritated skin, respiratory irritation. And so for me specifically, in my case, I was getting nasal congestion, runny nose and sneezing, a terrible, terrible cough, itchy throat, watery eyes. At the very worst, when I had my worst experience, I had a tightness in my chest. I couldn't get my coughing under control. I was wheezing and I felt like I couldn't breathe. So that was really definitely scary. So definitely respiratory irritation for me. So, again, those are just like kind of the most common ones. There might be some weird ones. I don't think that the list on this article is all inclusive. And I think that a lot of people just are reacting to this stuff differently. So, you know, maybe more will come out in the future, because I think that this is kind of maybe a new issue, this whole dip flu thing and how people are reacting to it. So I guess that's really all that I wanted to discuss in terms of the article, but there's a lot of more information there for you to read about and how to prevent it. So I just wanted to kind of preface this whole thing by telling you what dip flu is, what the symptoms associated with it are. So kind of now I'm going to get into my journey with this whole thing. So I was doing acrylic nails on my own. You know, way a long time ago. I was going to the salon forever. I've been getting my nails done since I was like 18 years old. And I was going to the salon and getting traditional acrylics done all the time. And then I would go through patterns where I would take a break and like not go to a place for a while. And then I'd go to a new place and yada yada. I'm sure we all been there, right? And so then it just got to the point where I just thought, you know, this is costing me a lot of money to go get my nails done every 2 weeks. A lot of times they would nick my cuticles or whatever. I think you guys have heard me talk about, you know, why I didn't like this going to the salon anymore before, so I'm not going to go down that road today. But I just thought, you know, I'm going to do acrylic on my own. Well, acrylic is hard because you have to take the powder, you have to dip the brush in the monomer liquid, pick up the powder, wait for it to kind of absorb on the brush, and then like sculpt it on your nail. But I figured it out, and my drill, my e-file, really helped me a lot. But then I stumbled on this whole dip system of doing acrylic nails at the beginning of the year, and I thought, oh man, okay, this looks a lot easier. Let me give this a try. So the first thing I did is the first company I stumbled across was Rossi. So I went and I ordered a Rossi dip kit that came with a few different dip colors. And, you know, it came with all the liquids that I would need. And so I went to work doing this. And for me, the very first time that I did it on my daughter. And then a few weeks later, I had to travel for work. So a few weeks later, I came back and did it on myself for the first time. Both those times I had no symptoms of dip flu. But then as I was, you know, like loving my new hobby, I started doing nails for my sister and my niece. And it was, I think, doing nails for them too, because I did them back to back, I remember one night. And that night I was in complete misery. So that whole thing of not being able to breathe and coughing so much that I was wheezing, and, you know, like the tightness in my chest and all of that, that was really scary. But I got through that night. I took a couple of Benadryls. I took like a hot shower and kind of sat in there to like breathe in the steam. And then eventually I got over it. So probably should have rushed to the doctor right away. And that's what I would tell you to do. Again, if you're having trouble breathing, you know, like don't do what I did. Do what you think is best for you and go seek that medical counsel. But that was the worst of it for me. And, you know, by this was the first time I experienced it. And then I kept doing nails and I kept getting sick, not to that degree, I would say, but I was still getting sick. And I really had no idea like that it was dip flu. I just thought, you know, I was sick with a cold. I thought, you know, I was getting over like bronchitis that I had caught from the trip that I went on for work. And that was a fact, because that's what the doctor told me. And that was like technically before I started doing nails. So I thought I was just like sick, you know, like I didn't know it was like an allergic reaction. And plus I had been doing acrylic nails for so long that I never thought that it could have been this system. So several more weeks went by, and I started putting it together that every time I did nails, I started coughing and having issues. So eventually I started my research and I was like, okay, what's going on? Read about dip flu and how to prevent it and blah, blah, blah. So I did what, you know, the articles say to do. Use a mask. Make sure that you are in a well-ventilated room. Don't have like the fan going though to the point that it's blowing like dust around, because you know that could be like another issue. And then, you know, you want to have a lot of light so that you're not holding your nails like really close to your face. You want to try to keep your nose and your face and everything kind of like away from your nails. Use a towel to catch dust and things like that. Use an air purifier, shake off dust outside, take a hot shower, take Benadryl or other allergy medications. Like I did it all. And this is the first mask that I got. So it's just like one of these little like COVID masks. So this was before COVID really like hit the United States that I ordered this mask. This, I would wear this and it would not help me. So this is just like cloth. I kind of have a paper towel in here, but this is just cloth, a cloth mask. It does have a little like insert here for one of these carbon filtery things that has the charcoal in it. And that's what it came with. But yeah, this didn't do anything for me. So then I started layering it with the paper towel in here just to try to like block, you know, stuff from getting into my airways. And that still didn't work. And so it got to the point where when I did my nails, for me specifically, it was not the powder. I was able to rule out the powder because, you know, regular acrylic powder like this one here from Tammy Taylor, because this is what I was using before I started doing the dip system. When I was doing the regular acrylic with the monomer, I used this. never ever had a problem. So since, you know, dip powder and regular acrylic are essentially the same thing, they're both acrylic powder, it's just the dip powder is more finely milled so that you can dip and it, you know, it leaves more of an even application, and, you know, regular acrylic powder isn't as finely milled, and that's because when you use the monomer with it, it melts the powder, you know, anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's not as finely milled. So anyway, that's the difference. But I knew it was not the powder for me, so I knew it was the liquids over here. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but looking at your liquids, a lot of them are the exact same, like between the base and the top coat specifically. The activator is something else that I don't have a problem with, and I don't think many people have reported having an issue with activator. But these ingredients on the base and the top are exactly the same. And so this Rossi system was the first system I said I used, and this is what made me really, really sick. And then I started doing research about, you know, what are other, like, you know, dip liquid kits that people report not being as allergic to. And so I found that, you know, triple vitamin was one that people like raved about, and I don't have the orange or yellow bottle as the base coat to go with this because I used it all up recently. But this one too, when I looked at the ingredients, it was the exact same ingredients in the base as in this top coat. And a lot of the systems are that way. So again, the mask, it wasn't an issue with filtering out the powder, it was an issue with filtering out the fumes from these liquids. And this little mask, again, did nothing of the sort. So it got to the point for me, since I realized it was these liquids, that when I would open the liquid and use the liquid, I would hold my breath. I know that sounds silly, but I was trying to keep it from entering my airways, like whatsoever, not even a little bit if I could, but I would still get sick. Now, it wasn't nearly to the degree, but I would still get a terrible cough and the sneezing and the itchy eyes and the itchy nose and the itchy throat and all of that, and that would start several hours after I stopped doing or finished my application, I'll say. It would start a few hours later, and then it would go for the next 2 or 3 days, which was terrible. I hated feeling that way. It was just, I was miserable. So then I started thinking about, like, what other kinds of masks could I use that would filter the fumes of this product. And so I went to my local hardware stores and Lowe's and things like that. And of course, by now the pandemic had hit. So like the masks were like gone. You couldn't buy any type of painter's masks or anything. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a painter's mask because I needed it to filter out fumes. And a regular mask does not filter out fumes. It's more particles. Like the construction masks and stuff, that's particles, not fumes. So I went on Amazon, and this was the first mask that I ordered from Amazon. So it looked like it would be pretty decent. I read the reviews on it and all the information, and it said that it would filter out fumes. And, you know, I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not going to open this because it's kind of a pain and I don't want to hurt my nails trying to do it. But it does have, you know, like the filter. It looked like pretty legit. When I tried this mask, I thought, okay, I'm just going to breathe normal. I'm going to see what happens with this. I'm going to give it a tried and true test. I was sick as a dog. This did nothing for me. This was like a big boo, a big X on this one. So this did not work. And so I was, you know, all happy that I had found a mask and I thought it was going to work. And then I was super bummed when it didn't work. So I didn't use it. It was kind of uncomfortable. And so I reverted back to this mask where I was holding my breath when I had this dip base open. And then, you know, several months went by before I could get my hands on another, decent mask that would be good for filtering out fumes. And I didn't want to break the bank in trying to find this mask, but I was able to find this other one on Amazon. And I know me showing you the box doesn't really do a whole lot of good because it's all like in Chinese or whatever. But it said on Amazon that this would be comparable to a painter's mask because it would filter all of the stuff out. And it was like a 7-part kit with different types of filters that you put on, and it looked very similar to the 3M mask, and those were the ones I couldn't get because they were out of stock on Amazon. So when this thing arrived, and here's what it looks like out of the box. Again, pretty cumbersome. You have to wear it tight on your face. It goes like over your head and around the back of your neck. If you guys are able to see this, and my camera's kind of close, but and it has to fit tightly to your face, obviously, so that when you breathe in, you're breathing in through the filters right here on the side. So let me see if I could take this apart a little better to show you guys. But this right here, this like filter screws onto the mask itself right here with these little circles. That screws on. And then for added filtering, it came with like this additional like filter pad right here that goes on top of that. And then to keep it on, it just comes with this like clear little plasticky cover that it just snaps on to keep it in place. And you know what? This has worked. Oh my God, I'm so happy I found something that works, that filters the stuff out for me, and I can actually breathe when I'm doing my manis now instead of holding my breath. I can't tell you how relieved I was to find this mask. So, I mean, do I want to be wearing something this cumbersome when I'm doing my nails? No, I really don't. But you know what I want even less is to feel the effects of the dip flu that I get, because I am just miserable. So I do my whole powder, like, you know, my nail prep and filing and all of that stuff I do with just this little bitty more comfortable mask on, because again, it's not the filing dust or the, you know, the after I've done the application and I'm filing my nail to get the shape, and some of this powder has already been applied, so that's what's kind of, you know, being filed off. That is not what bothers me, so this mask does fine. After the nail prep, and when I'm getting into cracking open these, the base coat, you know, to apply the powder, that is when I whip out this mask and I wear it the whole time that I am putting on, doing the application, dipping my nails. And then, you know, after I'm done with my coats of dip, I activate my nails and let them dry, and I close up all of these bottles, and then I can take that mask off and do the rest of the application, the filing, and the gel top coat. Now that's the other thing. I do gel top coat because obviously I'm allergic to this. I don't want to expose myself to this any further. But also I ran into issues where no matter, you know, I was following the rules of the dip application system to the T, to the letter, and I ruined a couple of brushes because of the way that the top coat is activated by the activator. That sounds funny to say, but my brush would go hard, and I was sick of that. And I saw other, like, you know, nail people that use just gel top coat, and that's always what they used to use on my nails when I would go to the salon. So I had plenty of gel products because I was using those with my regular Tammy Taylor acrylic system before, so that's what I just started using, but it worked for me. So the reason I have all these powders out, so let's get to that real quick. So again, the Tammy Taylor is what I started with when I was doing regular acrylic nails with the monomer, and I've since tried this out with dip, using the dip liquids, and it's worked fine, again, because the powders are essentially the same. And then, oops, sorry with the earthquake. I've tried like all these others. So like Rossi, you know, was one that I first tried. I'm trying to like think of the order. I think Revel was the next company that I tried. I won a giveaway and I got some Panda dips. So that's what this one is. Later on, I found Kira Sky and iGel Beauty. In the giveaway I won, I think that's where I got this one from too, New Revolution. Later on, I decided to buy some Mia Secret, which again, this is not technically dip powder, it's just regular acrylic, but it works well with the dip liquids. I've had no issue with it anyway. And then last but not least, I've recently tried Virgo and Gem. So all of these powders I have used with no, like, you know, fume filtering mask. And I am just wearing my little mask just because, again, I know that I'm kicking up powder as I'm drilling and things like that, and I don't want to be breathing that in if I can avoid it, just because, like, I know that that wouldn't be good. So I always wear a mask, and I would say that, like, you know, if you're doing nails all the time, invest in a mask. You know, even if you don't get dip flu, just a little one, just to keep, like, you know, the powder and stuff from being inhaled, I think is a safe bet. But I have had no issue with any of these dip powders. And then getting into the liquids, in my experience, Rossi and Revel, so this is the Revel Pro Base and the finish gel, which is like a top coat, and these are so strong for me. I got so sick from using these brands. And then the triple vitamin, again, I don't have the base coat, that comes like in an orangey yellow bottle. But this one wasn't as bad of symptoms for me, even though I still had symptoms that I was unhappy with. And then more recently, I tried Virgo and Gem. And to be honest, I can't really say how this would affect me, because by now, as you can probably guess, I am too scared to even attempt doing a dip manicure with dip liquids without my new mask that filters out the fumes, because I don't want to be sick. And now that I found a mask that works, like, I'm not taking any chances. So I can't tell you, you know, like these ones, I know, like, these burned my eyes a lot. They made me super sick. The triple vitamin, again, still got sick. It wasn't as bad. And then these ones I really can't even speak to, because I've never used them without my mask protecting me. So that is kind of my journey and what I have gone through over the last several months. You know, starting back in February is when I first started experimenting with dip systems. And I never gave up, because I just love nails too much, and it was just so much easier than doing the regular acrylic. And I really like, you know, that strength that acrylic gives you on your nails. So I couldn't give it up. A lot of people probably would have just been like, you know what, screw this. I'm sick all the time. It's not worth it. I'm just going to stop doing my nails myself. Maybe you go back to the salon, because I never had an issue when I went to the salon either. I mean, I've never gone for dip at the salon, but, you know, I would figure that, you know, having my hands way out in front of my face, not being the one to do them myself, that might make a difference, as I'm sure it does for a lot of people. But I could not give up my nails. I just love them too much. And so again, I just wanted to do this video for you guys to kind of just talk about my journey with dip powder nails, and, you know, specifically with the dip flu, and give a little bit more information around, you know, what dip flu is, and, you know, just explain it. So I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that there was a lot you could take away from it. I've blabbed the whole time, which is not normally what I do. I usually, if you've watched my videos on my channel, I talk a little bit and then cut away for a little bit, so you guys can just watch, and then, you know, I come back when I feel like I need to tell you something. So definitely this video is much different than anything I've ever done, but I just thought it was so important to get this information out there for you all as you're perusing YouTube and trying to find some information on dip flu. So this video has been a long time coming. I think it was several videos back that I mentioned that I wanted to do a video like this for you all. So here it is. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you found this helpful. Please feel free to share it with anybody that you think needs this information. Definitely go over to that Dipwell article and read all about it. That is a great article. It's the best one that I've found. And I hope that you guys can, if you love nails as much as I do and you suffer from dip flu, I hope that, you know, you can find a mask that filters all of it out for you, or you find some other way to kind of get around getting sick so that you can keep doing your nails. But remember, put your health first. You know, beauty should never cause pain. And, you know, just do what you need to do to take care of yourself and to remain healthy. I have no idea what the long-term effects of, you know, breathing this in would be, and I don't want to know, which is why I took steps for myself to figure out what would work for me. So, please do your part, do your research. This is just one small piece, hopefully helping you with that research, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.